let everybody know, for the purpose of those who are unable to attend, we are recording this evening's info session just so we can share with them later on. Also, if you, I'd like to ask you to please turn off your audio and video just until the presentation, just so you don't have much of interruptions. Also, please remember, any questions that you come up with during the presentation, do not hesitate to post your questions in the chat box. We are also joined by our externship coordinator, Kim, whom you will also meet in a little bit. She will be assisting us answering questions there as well. And again, just as I mentioned, at the end of the presentation, we purposely try to make the presentation brief, just so you have an opportunity to ask questions. You have the opportunity here, you have the instructors, like I said, and myself. I am the program manager. My name is Lori. I believe I didn't mention that earlier, so apologies on that. And we are here to assist you, walk you through the process. Do not hesitate to ask any questions. Or at the end of the info session this evening and you forgot to ask something, do not hesitate to email healthcare@cod.edu. One of us are always around to answer any of your inquiries there. So let's start with, I'll give you a brief overview of what is a dental assistant. What does it do? I'm sure many of you kind of has an idea. I'm sure you've researched what a dental assistant is. Again, you have, as a dental assistant, you have a important role to play with the dental team. I've heard many times before from Dr. Chen and Jerry that a dental assistant, you know, you are key as far as patient care relations. Oftentimes you are the first person that the patient, you know, talks to, sees in the office, and you know, you're there. You know, I don't know about you all, but I'm not too crazy seeing my dentist, but you're always there to, you know, give it that comfort, answer any questions, obviously triage any of those questions if you can answer. And at the same time, you are there to assist the team, including your dentist. How much or what does the profession, a dental assistant, make? As of recent, the median annual wage is at $40,270, and that's at median. Of course, there is also take into consideration as far as the state, where you're living and all that, but otherwise that is the average. Anticipated growth of a dental assistant profession career, it is growing like there's no tomorrow, is what we're saying here. Over the last couple of years, we are seeing a good 3.6% increase, and that is obviously going to continue to grow. And even more so now, we are seeing high demand for dental assistants. So let's go over the spring semester schedule. And we'll discuss this a little bit more in detail as we go, but as we have to follow the CDC guidelines on the physical distancing. But right now, the spring semester for a dental assistant program is scheduled to begin on February 23rd. The class meets Tuesdays and Thursdays, as you all, I'm sure have seen that, from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. And our lab are currently scheduled on Sundays. And though that the lab days meet from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. And that will start on March 7th. Okay, so again, just to discuss what changed since the pandemic, right? The college campus as it is, we are currently closed. The only students faculty, even staff, I'm not even allowed to be on campus. We are closed. The only classes that are allowed are programs that have been approved to run as a hybrid, dental assistant being one. That said, again, the didactic portion of the dental assistant program will all be run hybrid, online. The only time that you will be on campus is during your lab days, which is going to be for now on on Sundays. Pardon me, I keep saying Saturdays on lab. Usually lab are on Saturdays, but this time, because of the whole changes, we're trying to work on the schedule. And so this semester it is on Sunday. In addition to that, the class size have been reduced so that we can follow physical distancing guidelines from the CDC. Obviously, your didactic portion, that's not much of a problem because you will be online, but when you are in the dental hygiene lab doing your labs, we must observe physical distancing. We also obviously want you to follow the guidelines as far as, staying at least 6 feet apart. We ask that you please wear your masks, not only in class, but also, when you are in campus. We'd like to encourage, of course, washing your hands. Also, at the time when you get to campus, we have screening process. So just as, anywhere you go now, you will be, your temperature will be checked. There will be a screener. They will ask you, just a few questions as far as, temperature and things like that. Just a quick, view of what you will be needing in class. The obvious, of course, you need the notebook, your journal, safety glasses, some highlighter, the typical stuff that you will need in class. During your lab, and of course, when you go off onto your externship, we ask that you please wear clean shoes, your scrubs, you're gonna need those, and a jacket. We'll go over this a little bit more as far as what are the expectations during your externship, and we'll discuss that a little further. In addition to that, there's a couple of textbooks that you will be required, both of which, including the safety glasses, scrubs, and your jacket, those you can purchase from the college bookstore. The college bookstore now is operating, however, they're doing a curbside pickup. So you will order, whatever textbook it is required for your class, and you will, I think they have a specific pickup days that you can go and just do it's essentially like a drive-through. It's so efficient, I couldn't stop bragging about it, but you just, they'll tell you which building to go, and one of the staff members will come out and have your supplies that you've purchased. Okay, we'd like to go over a little bit about, class expectation. This is even more so now with us being online. I'd like to also mention the dental assistant program is a non-credit, right? But don't think for a minute that it is going to be a walk in the park, or that it's going to be easy, or I can miss a day of class here and there. No, there are attendance is one of the requirements for passing the class. We expect again, when you log in for your class, be on time, please, and be prepared. And of course, I think this goes without saying, we expect professional behavior, of course, and just be respectful of each other, your classmates, your teachers, of course. They are your mentor, essentially. Us, your program manager, and of course Kim, our externship coordinator, and your instructors We are here to guide you to be successful and make sure that you are ready when you go out in the workforce. So please don't hesitate to ask any questions. If there is something that we missed or it is unclear, we're here to guide you through this whole process. I'm not taking your exam for you, but we will certainly give you some resources on how to study for that. In the classroom, obviously, this is a little different, but of course, again, let us not be too comfortable when you are online, right? We obviously make sure we expect when you are online with your teachers and your classmate, dress appropriately. Just a quick overview as far I mentioned earlier about the attendance policy as one of the requirements in passing the program. If you have 3 unexcused absences, that's one of the fail status, if you must. If there is something that if you have a conflict with your schedule, if you have work, if you have, that you can't get out of, you can't find somebody to cover your work schedule, please do not hesitate to communicate that with your instructors. And most importantly, make sure you make an arrangement with your instructor as to what the assignments are, or how you can make up for any missed exams, or just a quiz that is going to be important. Please communicate that, and we'll talk more in a little bit here as far as ways of communication with your instructors. Just briefly, as far as if you're registered and something came up and you think that you're not going to be able to finish the program for the semester, just please remember you will only receive 100% if you drop or notify one of us, up to 2 business days before the start of class. So, anything like that, please make sure to let us know right away, or, call the registration office. Some of you, I should say, are already current COD students. I'm sure you know that, any alert, weather, which, not much of a problem given that we are a hybrid, but check the website as far as any updates, especially, with the COVID. Okay, Blackboard. Blackboard is the LMS that we use in the college as far as the online. This is the platform that we use. After you register and have your My Access account, you will also set up your Blackboard account. And in there, this is what you will be using as far as, submitting your assignment, anything and everything, I would say, as far as, homework, tests. Blackboard is also a way of teachers to communicate with you in addition to your COD email. As far as any class announcements, your instructors will post anything there. The Blackboard also has your discussion boards that you will be utilizing for that. And of course, all your grade will be on there. Any class schedule is also posted there. So make sure, I guess I want to reiterate how important it is to be checking your Blackboard for messages, of course, and in addition to that, your COD email. So to start, the first thing you want to do if you want to go ahead and register, you create your My Access account. And from there, your Blackboard account will be triggered along with your COD student email. And this is just a brief overview as to how you access your email, but I'm sure everyone kind of has an idea on how to do that. I also want to mention, don't hesitate to reach out to the help desk. We have a help desk specifically to students. especially with us being hybrid. Any issues with Blackboard, any issues with your email, reach out to them. We have that information on the cod.edu website as far as their contact info. That's essentially the same. Here it tells you just kind of brief as far as contact info about, of a help desk. Okay. When you go for your externship, or when it's time for you to go to your externship, there are certain requirements that you need to complete prior to that, and we will communicate deadline. Again, of course, here's where it is important for you to, be current with checking your emails, and again, Blackboard, because that is where we communicate any deadlines and what is requirement as far as externship. And from here, I'd like to ask Kim to go over the externship process. Kim?
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me, Lori?
Yes.
I can't. Okay, great.
Yes.
So I am Kim, your externship coordinator. And what we're going to talk about now are the preparations that you will take prior to the start of externship. So first things first, resume preparation. Many of you probably already have one, but if you don't fret. Resume is absolutely required for externship. That is how we let a dental office know that you are being presented to them as a potential candidate for externship, okay? So if you do not turn in a resume, you do not go to externship, and externship is part of the curriculum. So if you do not proceed to externship, you don't pass the class, okay? So with a resume, for those of you that already have one, that's great. You can send it to me once you've registered well before the deadline, and I will communicate the deadline to you in a few weeks, okay? So if you do need assistance with your resume, we do offer a resume workshop that will be via Zoom, but I will have a short presentation for you to help you get started creating a resume or updating your current resume. But if you need something a little bit more personal, one-on-one, I am open to that as well, but just let me know and we'll schedule a time to get on Zoom together, and then we can work on that together. Those of you that are enrolled in or going to enroll in the class, you must know that you have to have at least a 75% in the course at the time of externship placement. So externship placement takes place after your last lab day. So usually students will start, your lab day is your Sunday this term. Most students will probably start that following week after your last day of lab. But we do check with your instructors, Dr. Chen and Ms. Jerry, to find out that you have the score, that minimum score of 75% in order for you to proceed. So if you do not have a 75% at the time of externship placement, you will not successfully complete the course, and you definitely won't proceed to externship, okay? So resume workshop again will be sometime, probably the second or so week in March, but again, I will communicate those deadlines to you in a few weeks, okay? All right. Are we going to, okay.
There you go.
So, thank you. So here's the externship process. You're going to submit a resume by the deadline. All dental students must complete BLS CPR certification, okay? If you already have that, great. By the deadline, as long as you send me a copy of your card, that will be sufficient. I know it will be a bit difficult due to COVID for you to find a location for you to get your CPR certification. So I urge you to find a location as soon as possible. If I do not have your BLS CPA certification on file at the time of externship placement, I can't place you. That is one of the things that we have to have in addition to your resume before you are even considered for externship. So as soon as you can, once you've registered, first week of school, even now, if you're considering enrolling in the class, I suggest you find places in your community that offer BLS CPR, okay? Externship preferences, I will provide you with a list of dental offices that have agreed to accept externs this spring, okay? So we will place you at one of those sites. You will get to choose. I'll give you a preference form. You get to choose. You can choose it based on specialty, location, whatever. But I will place you at the site based on when you turn it in and that site's availability, okay? There is the possibility that I may put two of you at the same site. You may not work the same hours, so that's something that you may have to keep at the back of your mind. But externship sites are not 100% guaranteed. There have been some instances where a site pulled out at the last minute after you've already chosen it. You may have already interviewed there or spoken with the office manager. Do not worry. Everyone that is in this program that has a 75% at the time of externship placement will get a site. Everyone will have a site, okay? Once I receive everyone's preference form, that is when I start, that's the fun part. That's when I start reaching out to dental offices with your resumes, and I try to match you with a site that I think and that you may love or prefer. What's best for you. So that's where we will communicate the most during externship placement. You'll get emails from me, you'll get phone calls from me, and you'll get phone calls or emails from a dental office. So that's when the fun begins. Sometimes a site may require a student to have certain immunizations. For example, hepatitis B. Some sites want their externs or their dental assistants or hygienists to have that vaccination. If you have not had that vaccination, or if you do not want to get that vaccination, do not choose that site. Every site will have any type of pre-qualifications or requirements listed on there, so pay attention to that too, okay? Schedule phone or in-person interviews and or orientation. That is with regard, again, to your externship site. Most sites want to meet you first before they agree to accepting you as an extern. So it will be an interview of sorts. So be prepared for that. It may be over the phone or it may be in person. It just depends on whatever site that is. However, we will have an externship orientation probably that week, that last week of your didactic, that last week before your last lab, your last Zoom meeting. But again, I will let you guys know closer to that time. And I'll give you enough time to know when it is so you can be there, because that's where you get your paperwork. And then I teach you the ropes, so to speak, okay? So once you have chosen an externship site, you will work with that site to develop a schedule that works best for you and for the site, okay? So if you are working, if you have kids, babies, whatever, I urge you to talk with your family, your employer, and let them know that your externship will be around end of April, and it will probably go probably until your final exam, and I think that's around the third week in May, okay? I really don't like for extern students to go past the final exam. If it happens, it happens, but try to prepare yourself, your family, your employer for those 5 or 6 weeks that should be devoted to your externship, okay? And we want you to get those 120 hours complete by the time you take your final exam, okay? Once you start externship, and a lot of this stuff we will go over again once we have externship orientation, you will have to document your hours. So externship for dental assistants is 120 hours. If you want to do it full time, okay, that's about 25, 30 hours in externship land. But we really don't want you to go any less than, 10 hours a week because it will take you forever. Okay, so we will discuss how to document your hours once you start externship, and be prepared to send me your hours weekly so I can keep track of your progress, and have an estimate of when I think and when you think that you'll be complete with externship. Okay. So finally, at the conclusion of your 120 hours, there will be some forms that you, your site preceptor or the office manager, whomever will be in charge of your externship experience at the dental clinic. Once I receive all of the paperwork, it has been verified that you have completed 120 hours of externship, and I have crossed off everything on my pretty spreadsheet. And you passed the final, because you got to pass the final. So once you've completed all of those, then you have completed the program, and you will get like an email from me with like 1,000 exclamation points saying congratulations. And that is when the fun begins. Okay. Alrighty. So externship policies. You will get your guidelines.
Your handbook.
That's the word I was looking for. Your handbook, your student handbook, at the beginning of the course. So you'll have some time to read it over. There's also an externship guidelines too. And then with regard to your attendance on externship, if you scheduled it, if the site put you on the schedule, you have to stick to that, okay? Because you're not getting paid for this externship, but you are still part of the staff for those 120 hours. And if they put you on the schedule, they're depending on you to be there because they need that assistance, okay? So once you make your schedule, try not to fiddle with it too much. Try not to change it too much. Stick to the schedule and go to externship on those scheduled days, okay? Confidentiality, that goes without saying. I'm pretty sure that Ms. Jerry and Dr. Chen will talk about this in class, but whatever you see, that stays at the practice. It stays at the office. You do not discuss anything. You do not take pictures of anything. You do not post it on TikTok, Twitter, whatever those things that the kids are doing. Please don't do it, okay? Confidentiality, and you'll learn more about that once you get in class. With regard to dress code, and I know that a lot of you have questions about that, I don't think that a lot of sites that we use on a regular basis have a specific dress code that they want you to adhere to, other than please don't go in there smelling like cigarettes. If you have your whole neck tatted, cover it up. Do not wear a lot of perfume. Make sure your hair is back. Make sure your scrubs are clean. Make sure your shoes are clean. Make sure that you are taking the necessary sanitary precautions per the CDC, per the office, and per College of DuPage, okay? So the guidelines and the dress code go hand in hand. Men and women have to be well groomed. Like I said, no cologne, perfume, hair back, nails clean and cut, clothes clean, everything. So make sure that you take that into consideration each time that you are scheduled for externship, grooming as well, okay? Transportation, with regard to your externship site, most of you are going to choose an externship that is not very far from your home or from your job, okay? So if at any time you have the issue with transportation, you've lost your car or anything like that, the car broke down, you have to let me know immediately, because if you have to switch sites, that is a process. That's not something that I could just call someone up and say, I have a student that needs a replacement externship. Can you take her tomorrow? It doesn't work that way. So I need ample time to get you a replacement site, okay? I see we're on the site replacement page. So once you're assigned an externship site, that is a site that you will remain with for your full 120 hours, okay? And there's only, the only exceptions to that is if the site can no longer host you as an extern. Let's say the dentist or whomever, they can't accommodate you anymore because they're short-staffed and they have to concentrate on other things, or there's just any other type of extenuating circumstance where you cannot complete your externship at that site. Those are the only two exceptions that we have to that. You cannot start externship and then decide, I don't like this place, or it's too far, or no, you can't do that. That's the site that you have to complete your 120 hours, okay? And they're subject to change. If, like I said, if they can't accommodate you anymore, that's not your fault. We will make sure that you have a site. If it sets you back a couple days or a week or so, please do not fret. It is not a big deal. But we will definitely make sure that you have a replacement site, okay? So the details of externship: you must complete all 120 hours. Normal business hours are between 8 a.m. and 7 p.m. There are going to be some times where some offices want you there at 7 a.m. or they may, have afternoon hours and you work from like 12 to 7 or 12 to 8 p.m. or whatever. But those are the typical normal business hours, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m., especially for externs. And most externship sites really only want the externs there Monday through Friday, but there have been in recent terms externship sites that do offer some Saturdays. This is not an every Saturday thing, so do not bank your externship placement based on I need Saturdays only, okay? And Sundays, that's very rare. And plus you couldn't do Sundays. Well, yeah, you could, because you'll be done with lab at that time. But Sundays are very rare, okay? Externship should not ever be during classroom timings, and it should never start before we say you can start, okay? So you shouldn't be like beginning of March on externship ever, okay? You have to do your classroom portion first and then proceed to externship, okay? We do ask that everyone is flexible in the externship placement and the hours that you may have at the site. However, I urge you, when you interview for externship, you discuss your schedule right then and there. Don't wait for them to give you your schedule and then you say, oh, I can't do that. No, please don't do that. Make sure you have your schedule solidified by the time you say, yes, I would like to extern at this facility, okay? Uh-oh, we skipped this. Did you go forward? Oh, there we go, okay. So again, time off from work or school, if you're in school too, it is required. And then please make sure to make arrangements for childcare and transportation as soon as possible, if that will be an issue for your externship, okay? All right.
Okay, thank you, Kim. I also would like to add a couple of points to the externship. As you know, again, it is a requirement, but I cannot stress enough the value of the externship portion of the program. The didactic and the lab days, those are the times that we prepare you to go out there, but there is nothing like the externship. This is your time to not only apply what you've learned and practice what you've learned, but also this is your time to network. When I say network, I would consider my externship, your externship portion of the program, to be your job interview. I will share with you that this last couple of semesters during this pandemic, 100% of our students were either offered a job or and accepted the job. Some of them, yes, did not accept it for some reason, distance and whatnot, but the majority of the students were offered a job right after the program or right before. And those were, the externship site learned about the student and they like the student and they feel that the student is qualified. So they're actually emailing us asking when it's going to be done so we can offer them a position. So us asking you to present yourself, be there, dress neatly, that is because that is your job interview. So I just want to stress that. In addition to that, as far as the requirements of CPR certification prior to going to externship, that is not any different as to, obtaining your job as a dental assistant. Dental assistant now, they are required to have a CPR certification for reasons we all know why. So again, the requirements in the class, these are in place to prepare you to be out in this workplace and to be successful. Um, Here we're talking about, student support. The college, and I'm still learning this myself, the college has many, many, many resources, again, to help you succeed. It's just a matter of reaching out to that specific department. Again, if you're having issues with, IT, Blackboard access, reach out to help desk. If, you're having needing some tutoring time, reach out to, get some one-on-one. It's there, just look for it or ask someone where to go and set up a time or make arrangement to do so. Don't wait until the end of the semester and you're going to tell your instructors, oh, I'm having a hard time, can you help me with this, or I'm struggling with this concept, I missed that. Don't wait. I can tell you that your instructors are there and they will always make the time to help you and even have to go back to it and discuss and show you what you've missed and stuff. In addition to the help desk support after the program, the college also have career services. If you need help with your resume now that you are looking for a job, if you think you need a refresher, reach out to career services. They will be happy to look over it. Again, Kim is going to help you with that as well, as far as externship. Another resource for that, career services. In addition to resume help, career services also are doing like a mock interview. Just reach out to career services and they will assist you and schedule an appointment. So here we talked about how are you going to register? Many ways. I also want to mention before I forget, because I'm sure I'm going to forget. Again, the max number of students for the class has been reduced essentially to half than what we would normally do, because again of the physical distancing guidelines. And as of today, I can tell you that there's only a few slots left. And unfortunately, we cannot add any more once those slots are filled, because again, we will be out of compliance with the CDC. So if you are seriously considering to take the dental assistant program this semester, please call right away or go and register via My Access. The phone number to call is 630-942-2208. I also want to go over some payment option. The dental assistant program, because it is a non-credit program, it does not qualify for student loan or student aid. But we've made an arrangement and there are financial options, there are payment options that you can take advantage of. Now, I know this slide is not doing us justice for those of us who can't see. But this essentially tells you you can make a payment arrangement, and it's broken down into, I think you can even make it all the way to 8, 9 payment. And if you want to take advantage of that, call the registration desk, which is 630-942-2208. They will direct you to the person in charge of that. There are some paperwork that you fill out. She will go over with you as far as what is required now, or what type of a down payment, if you must, that is required. And she will set up, however payment schedule you need to do for the semester. I'd like to mention, however, if you are going to make a payment plan, the last payment must be made before the start of your externship. Before you go to your externship, that's one of the things that we have to look at, make sure that's all been taken care of. Another option for registration fees is that if you are unemployed, the program is WIOA approved. And this is a state county program. If you need some help with that, let us know. Email healthcare@cod.edu, and we'll be happy to connect you with somebody from workforce. Okay. And here we are on to our Q&A. This is the fun part. I will stop recording here.